items. One would be the consent agenda 3.1 pilot resolution. And that was the only one. The other was the is later on.
Okay.
So there was a discussion regarding the pilot resolution. Enrique, if you could just give us a little bit of information on that regarding for the extension for the Entergy.
Yes. As you all know,
Excuse me.
we are in negotiations with Entergy. Under those negotiations, our last payment is for the 14-15 year. So the rest of the town, fire department, and the county, their budget starts way before ours. So we need to start moving in the right direction so we can have a agreement by November, when the fire department
They'll be having their negotiation.
when the fire department has their budget. So we need to have inter-agreement with the county, the fire department, and the town on how we are going to manage those negotiations.
Joe, do you want to?
The resolution speaks to a group of municipalities, including the town of Cortland and other municipalities within Entergy's property, to ask the governor to expedite this resolution. This bill that's sitting on his desk, he has until September 5th to sign it. What that would do is that would give us sort of the legal opportunity to continue, as Enrique said, our negotiations with Entergy, so the language and the protection and the method of how the pilot operates is a legally binding agreement and a legally binding law. So this was done a long time ago, and the initial pilot was negotiated, and as we're currently in negotiations, it's time to ask the governor for his support.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, can I get a motion to approve this 3.1 consent agenda, the pilot resolution, to approve this resolution for this particular extension? Second, in favor? Aye. All right, and if I can get a motion to approve the items not pulled from the consent agenda, we'll just sort of do a little bit backwards for you.
It's okay.
The other items. All those in favor? Okay, that brings us to our items removed from the consent agenda, one of which was the acceptance of donations. And this time, New York Life and Employment Life is once again did a matching grant totaling $416. Some parent is absolutely wonderful about doing the paperwork. Actually, it's two parents here. No, it's one, I'm sorry, it's the combined amount. But quite often we see New York Life. So this parent, assuming it's at least one and perhaps more, is doing a wonderful job of making an effort, contributing to our schools, as well as making the effort to put in for the matching. So if I can get a motion to approve this donation for $650. Thank you. All those in favor? Brings us to the code of conduct, the public hearing.
It's over.
You can see it's on correct.
We've had no comments or question.
No problem. Okay, so it would be an approval of the code of conduct provisions.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the board? Lori, I know you had a question regarding, well, frankly, we'll go simple or not so simple. That's.
So I asked Marcia because it's a historical question.
Okay.
And it principals ago, a group of kids went to the principal and you know, with compelling reasons why are we not allowed to wear hats? Like, could we wear hats? You know, why is this such a big deal? And over time, it became up to the discretion of the class teacher. Kids can wear hats in the halls, they can wear them in the cafeteria, they can obviously wear them outside. They can wear them in classes if it's okay with the teacher. And it's not disruptive, and certainly if it's an appropriate hat. So that's where we are. Some battles, I imagine, are worth fighting, and some perhaps not. And I'm sure that's where that principle was, whenever it was, many years ago. Yeah.
Sure. Do most teachers allow kids to wear hats in their classrooms?
I would say most do. I mean, we have a policy when it's regents or final exam time. I mean, obviously, no hats allowed. I think there are not that many students that wear hats now. I believe there were years ago when more, particularly the boys, wanted to wear hats. You tend to see it more during basketball season when the kids will wear a hat of a favorite college basketball team, or particularly during baseball season. The boys will tend to wear hats more. It hasn't been an issue raised by the staff in the high school the way it had been years ago. And I would say that the kids are very responsible when you ask them to take it off. They do.
I can tell who's old school here.
I just have a personal, I think as kids grow up and become young adults, that you shouldn't
Yeah, I mean,
wear hats.
we're very respectful, you know, in the homeroom, you know, when we stand and say the pledge and whatnot, we would ask the kids to take the hats off, and they do, and, you know, outside when the Star Spangled Banner is played before a sporting event, I think it's something they need to be taught. That's what school's for. So.
That's a personal, I just
Yeah.
have a problem with young high schoolers wearing hats in school. You know, we're trying to teach them to be respectful adults, and you're not going to be doing this in the workplace, although unless you're working for Google or something
Yeah.
like that, where it's, you know,
We've got a few of those.
thank goodness,
Proud to say.
right? But you know, all this talk about getting ready for college, getting
Yeah.
ready, etc. And I just talked about in my school, it's a totally different kind of population,
Mhm.
and there's no problem.
Yeah,
with,
I
there's
would
no
say
hats.
the percentage of kids we have wearing hats is very minimal compared to, say, what it maybe had been 10, 20 years ago. So.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Do you have
Marcia.
any questions or?
How about phones?
Well, I don't.
How about phones?
Phones.
How about phones? I'll start here first.
Phones, if you read the technology part, we've gotten realistic about phones. Kids in the high school are allowed to use phones between classes. They're allowed to use it on their frees. And teachers, if they're savvy and kids have smartphones, they become sentient.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
My only concern, I was just thinking, no phones in the hallways. For this purpose, look up. You know,
You only do that once.
From personal experience,
right.
we just don't allow phones in the hallways. They're falling down staircases. They're bumping into other people. They're knocking things over. They're walking into lockers. They're not aware of their surroundings. So we do. Some teachers use it. I use it in my classroom. They're allowed to use it in the cafeteria. But we're in the hallway, kind of like when I take the seniors to Florida. They're not allowed to use it when they're walking on the street because it's look up. You know, there's been
right.
so many things. You have one kid fall down a hole up on a staircase.
Are way down since kids are allowed to use their phones.
Yeah, that was the only place I was concerned about is in the hallway. You know, who's late for class or something, just a consideration.
I could look around. And
It's
see
like,
kids are
look
looking.
up. You know, kids like to sit against their hallway.
I just come here, sorry.
No, it's
I'll have a keep it down. I'll keep one of those little
Yeah,
clicker
there's-
kids bumping into each other.
I just work.
It's annoying on the streets as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Nope, that was me.
Okay. And if there are no other questions or comments, can I get a motion to approve the code of conduct, the revisions as presented? I'm sorry, could you just step back? Marion, you did ask
all the information.
Okay, just making
Yeah,
sure.
we had it worded differently, but it's, there's a box at the bottom of the summary that says in about 16 different ways how you can access the whole code.
Right, just so you know your responsibility.
Oh, of course.
Just to make sure that you're concerned.
Right, and I'm very interested to hear from the schools and families if families are actually reading this thing out of the 4 pages and not 90.
99. I actually considered printing it, and I'm like, no. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the code of conduct as presented? Second? All those in favor? That would bring us audience comments, so we'll just bypass that and go straight to the superintendent's report.
Just a couple of reminders. Opening day for our staff is next Tuesday. As we did last year, we will have a staff-wide barbecue over at the high school. This year will be from 11 to 12:30. We'll have student music. We'll have Brad Fredman from the high school have frisbee golf and some other things available. So if you can attend, please make it over around 11 o'clock on Tuesday. Parking will be a premium, so come early or park at the district office and walk over. Right now the forecast is calling for 88-degree temperature with partly cloudy skies, so it will be a very nice day. The following day, on Wednesday, is Parents' Most Wonderful Day of the Year in Kendrick Hudson. That's where kids get on the yellow school bus and they go back to school. So we have 1 week. 1 week from today is when we kick off our school year, and we have a lot of excitement, a lot of great things happening. We're going to have a series of different presentations to the board later in September and October around the changes, around implementing the Common Core, what our school teams are up to, and also our vision of moving to professional learning communities in all 5 of our schools. And our administrators are going to spend a day on September 16th talking about what high-functioning professional learning communities are, how staff really need to play a role, and which key staff in the building need to be a part of that. So it's starting the conversation of how to operationalize and really bring the work that this group has been talking about to the classroom level. To make sure that we are impacting instruction and that teachers have the right resources to implement the change that this board has been talking about for a good long time. Also, I admitted part of our opening day celebration is I'll be traveling to the 5 schools, giving an update and having a conversation with our staff in little town hall sessions. Matthew Swirloff is going to join me and talk about our technology coaching model, where we have trained a number of teachers in each building on being whiteboard and smartboard gurus. And these staff are going to be able to provide turnkey training. They're going to be able to provide coaching and some mentoring for our other teachers in appropriate and effective use of our technology. As you know, that was a commitment we made through our budget process last spring. That the bond that the voters approved in December gave us a great opportunity to increase our technology capability and gave more technology into the hands of classroom teachers. And these coaches will be able to bring some very streamlined and targeted staff development. So he'll be joining me talking about what that model will look like.
Perfect. I'm sure everybody is waiting your arrival. That brings us to another audience comments. So again, I think we're good. Are there any board comments or any new business?
Well, I attended the new teacher luncheon yesterday, which was very, very nice. See so many eager faces, waiting to start in their new positions. So that was very nice. I think you had spent the day before doing
We
some
have 2
training.
days of planned training for the new teachers. The first, kicking it off with kind of an overview. We read the mission together. Joe came in to watch that.
And yesterday they met with their mentors,
And
correct?
yesterday, yes, they met their mentors, and they'll be working all year hard. We worked
Is it
hard.
one-on-one with the mentors?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, it was very nice.
I like that. Is it somebody who's like in their building? Or
Yes.
just somebody,
Yes.
is it
Our
grade level
assumption
match,
is
or-
grade level or department will mentor teachers just naturally, because you're part of the math department or part of the English department or a third grade teacher at Frenchy Lindsay. But the mentor is from the building to help acclimate the teacher and make sure the teacher doesn't stumble in the building. Because, you know, every
mentors have-
building has.
Anybody have his
its
phone?
own- Right, trip over kids, you know, phones.
But the mentality has to go through a training process as
absolutely.
well.
Yeah,
Terrific.
absolutely.
That's wonderful.
So it's very nice.
Anything else? Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of our meeting. We have, our next meeting is a week from today. It will just be a quick meeting here at the high school. It's for isolated business, and we will follow up the following week, 9/10. We're back on Wednesdays here at the, and we will be back at the high school and back at 7:30. We'll move a little bit later for during the school year. We will be discussing board goals. If Charles not here, we wouldn't dare do it without him. So, and in between that, we do have the first day of school, and we're looking forward to that. I think every, I don't think it's enough for the high school,
It's only a half day for the
just the
elementary.
Okay,
elementary.
so half day for elementary,
Yeah.
but the middle school and high school are full days.
It's on the
That's
calendar,
correct.
which is on the website.
That's correct, it's on the calendar, it's been that way for many years. Kindergartners are the same as all the other elementary students, half a day for kindergarten through 5th grade, Wednesday, and then Thursday, starting Thursday, full days at school.
I would like to ask everyone, please do look at your calendars, because there are things that happen really early on in the year, such as, meet the teachers and these kinds of things, back to school night, and, you want to, and some things such as half days, you want to make sure that you don't miss something like that. But these are important events, and it's on the website, calendars, it's all there. Thank you very much.
All the
Do I
changes go on the
acknowledge everybody
website,
as well?
so always look to the
The
website.
website is always the most up-to-date source.
And we thank everybody for putting in our committee meetings, which is helpful. So we have our, it's
Give
great.
you something to highlight.
Yes, I mean, they're actually, most of them are open to the public if anybody's interested.
So, thank you very much. That concludes our board meeting for this evening. If I can get a motion to close. Second. All those in favor? Have a good evening.